They are as real as the beard on Hank's face. Real deal. I'm working on it. I'm inspired a little by Hank and a little by Duck Dynasty. And that's right, Jack. That's funny. With my tea glass. I wrote a song called Love Is Not a Fight that was featured on a movie called Fireproof. If you saw the movie Fireproof, you heard my song. But I didn't write it for the movie. I wrote Love Is Not a Fight after a fight with my wife that she started. She's not here. My wife is OCD. My wife is a clean freak. My house is spotless right now. There are vacuum marks on my carpet. If you go in my house and you messed up a vacuum mark, it'd be your responsibility to replace it. And one night I had some friends over at my house, which is risky because all of my friends walk. Watch out for the vacuum marks. We were hanging out and I was eating some snacks. I was eating some pretzels and I dropped a pretzel on my wife's floor, and when the pretzel hit the floor in our house, it destroyed our house. So my wife disciplined me with her eyes. Which is normally okay, but on this particular occasion, my friends were there and they saw my wife discipline me with her eyes. And I felt the need to show my friends that I wasn't afraid of this woman. So I looked my wife in her disciplining eyes and I dropped a whole handful of pretzels on the floor. That's right. It was the wrong thing to do. I thought it was funny, and so did my friends. But they were afraid to laugh. They were waiting to see what my wife would do. And she did not see the humor in it. So my friends left. They're no longer my friends. This is all true. Have any of you ever had a really small thing like lead to a really big fight? You know, like something that's just really insignificant, doesn't really matter on its own, but it just, for some reason, it's the thing that starts the fight, right? Well, for me, the thing that started the fight was a pretzel. And if you've been there, then you know that usually the fight has absolutely nothing to do with the thing, right? It has nothing to do with that. And that night, my wife and I got into a really big fight that had nothing to do with a pretzel. We had been married just short of 6 years, and we had a lot of issues in our marriage. We had a lot of problems, things that we were not dealing with properly. And that night, a fight broke out in our house. We were fighting over these 6 years worth of stuff. These 6 years of problems and mistakes and anger and frustration. And as the fight grew and grew, it got to the point to where we had convinced ourselves we didn't belong together anymore. And so we said that we wanted out of our marriage. And we said we were leaving. We said it was over. We were screaming at each other that we wanted out. Hurtful things, terrible things. I can't get into all of it here with you. But ultimately, we decided not to leave. We decided to try and make it work. And we worded it this way. We said that we were going to have to start fighting for each other as hard as we had just fought against each other. And so we began to try and do that. It's been 5 years since that night, and we are still fighting for each other. And God is bringing victories after victory after victory. I did not write this song for a movie. Actually, when they asked could they use the song, I told them they had to ask my wife. It was her song. I did. And they had to ask her. And she said, okay. I didn't write it for them. I did not write it for you, although I think you're cool. I didn't write this song to sing. I never thought I would sing it in front of anyone other than her. I sang it to her on a back porch on our 6-year wedding anniversary. And I never thought I would sing it for anyone else. I definitely never thought I would have to share the pretzel story. I sing it for you because she lets me. She allows me to sing it to you because she believes that there are victories waiting for you on the other side of your battles, and they're worth fighting for. My guitar won't work again. You're working hard tonight, man. There it goes. There's a short in that box. There we go. It's working. Stop touching it. I love that guy. It'd be cool if you had to hold the cable a certain way, and the whole song, this whole slow song, you would just lay here on the floor in front of me and just hold the cable. Can we do that anyway? It's not needed, but just not. So love is not a place to come and go as we please. It's a house we enter in and then commit to never leave. So lock the door behind you, throw away the key. We'll work it out together, let it bring us to our knees. 'Cause love is a shelter in a raging storm. Love is peace in the middle of a war. If we try to leave, may God send angels to guard our doors. Oh, 'cause love is not a fight, no, but it's something worth fighting for. To some, love is a word, and they can fall into it. But when they're falling out, we're keeping that word. Man, it's hard to do it. But love is a shelter in a raging storm. In the middle of a war. If we try to leave, may God send angels to guard our doors. Oh, 'cause love is not a fight, no, but it's something worth fighting for. Love will come to save us if we will only call, and He will ask nothing from us, but He demands we give our all. 'Cause love, He is the shelter and our raging storms. Love, He will bring peace to the middle of our wars. Oh, I've seen it with my own eyes. He heard a pretzel fall in Nashville. He came all the way down from heaven just to help me clean up a mess I made. I tried to leave, but He sent angels to guard my doors, to show me that love is not a fight, no, but it's something worth fighting She said yes on the back porch at her mama's house. She said it's worth fighting for. I brought pictures of my family. If we have the pictures tonight, oh, check it out. That's my hot wife, Megan. That's my little boy, Montgomery, and my daughter, Ada Beth. Look at that. Get your cameras out. You might want to take pictures of this. We don't feed her. He messed up some vacuum marks at my house. And my wife made him replace them. To my wife, that's an image of what it looks like to train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from me. And pray for us. I show these pictures, and I tell this story almost every other night of my life, and have so for the past 4 or 5 years. And it's not easy to relive the battle of that night over and over again. It's a shameful story that I share. I do not tell it over and over again to relive the shame. I tell it over and over again to relive the victory. And as I show these pictures after I relive that story and after I sing that song, I show these pictures and I say to you, I would not have these pictures. Montgomery would never have been born, and Ada Beth would not exist if I had looked at my wife Megan and said, you are not worth fighting for. That's heavy on me every night. It makes me realize that some things are definitely worth fighting for. It's just a reminder over and over and over again to me as I relive it over and over and over that they would not be here if I had said this wasn't worth fighting for. I am so thankful that my wife and I decided that this was worth fighting for. I can't imagine a world without my kids. And it encourages me and it emboldens me, if you will, to tell you with all certainty that there are some things in your life that are worth fighting for. And there's a lot of junk that just is not worth fighting for. And I think most of us, if we're honest, we fight for a bunch of junk. We sit down at the end of our week and we're exhausted. You might not call it that. You might would say, I don't fight for anything. Yeah, you do. You sit down at the end of every week and you are tired and bruised and scarred and exhausted, and you fought for what? Your career? Your job? Money? Popularity? Fame? Prestige? A cooler house? A nicer car? What'd you fight for? We stand here at the end of this year and we could say, man, I'm tired. It's been a busy year. What'd you fight for this year? What did you wear yourself out for? I hope at the end of next year, at the end of next week, that you can sit down and say, I am tired. I am exhausted. I am bruised. I am scarred. I have fought for the kingdom of heaven. I have fought for my family. Megan and I believe in fighting for things that are worth fighting for. We fight for our kids. They are worth fighting for. And one night in a conversation about fighting for our kids, we thought, let's fight for a child that's not ours. And so we started fighting for a little boy named Kahilu. Kahilu lives in Uganda, and it's $32 a month to fight for him, and we fight for him. We give up our cable to fight for him. It's got to cost you something, right, to fight, so we fight for him. And we write him letters. We say, Kahilu, we're fighting for you. We are giving up House Hunters International and Duck Dynasty on your behalf. And you are worth fighting for. He's worth it. He's worth it. One night, my wife and I were out at an Applebee's, and we realized that we spent more money in that one meal than it takes to provide for Kahilu for an entire month. We spent $35 on that meal. And Kahilu needs $32 to provide food, clothes, water, healthcare, education, someone to care for him and share the love of Christ. And we thought, we can skip going to Applebee's. I'm not trying to take away from the ministry of Applebee's. I know they're doing wonderful things in your neighborhood. But Megan and I thought, we could skip Applebee's once a month and we could fight for another child. And so we did. We wrote him letters. We said, we're fighting for you. We're giving up Fiesta lime chicken and mozzarella sticks on your behalf. And you're worth fighting for. After 1 year of fighting for this little boy, we got a letter in the mail that said, because of our sponsorship, his dad was able to learn a trade and his family no longer needed our help. I know. It's amazing. I'm the greatest missionary that ever lived. Let me tell you about the great sacrifice I made. I skipped 12 visits to Applebee's. And God used it. And he multiplied it. I still ate. I just ate a sandwich at home. I probably still gained weight. We just took that night that we would have went and spent that money on a bunch of fried food. Applebee's doing their best to try to get us to heaven as quickly as possible. And we took that money and we put it in an envelope along with a letter. And we thank God for our blessings, and we thank God for the fact that he fights for us on a daily basis so that we can fight for another child. And God multiplied that, and he literally changed that child's entire family's future. And we thought, this is worth fighting for. Let's find ways to fight for more children, and we did. We dropped our home phone. We didn't use it. I heard a commercial that said I could call this number and they could save me money on my car insurance. I called the number. They did save me money on my car insurance. We sponsored kids with that money. We found other ways to fight for these children, and I decided to go on a trip and see. I wanted to see with my own eyes. Because we were fighting for so many children, I wanted to see it. I wanted to be there, you know? And so I went on this trip, and I got to see with my own eyes what we were doing. It's unbelievable. I cannot begin to express to you what it's like to see. They're more than just pictures on my refrigerator at home. They are real. They're real. I hugged them. I sang songs for them. They sang songs for me. And then I went to a community that wasn't being helped. And I got to see the difference. It broke my heart. They came to me and they said, hey, would you help us get water? We want to show you what it's like. And so they said, would you help us get water? And of course I said yes. And they handed me a 5-gallon bucket. It's not how I get water in my house. But we took this 5-gallon bucket and I started walking down this mountain. It was a steep mountain, a dusty animal trail on the side of this mountain. It was 100 degrees outside. And we're walking down this mountain. This man walked past me and said something in his language. And when I asked what he had said, they told me that he said, white boy is going to fall off the mountain. Yeah. So I'm being cautious. And I got down to the bottom of the mountain where the people were, and I could see a group of people, about 30 people at that moment, pushing and shoving and fighting. They had buckets and jugs, and they were screaming at one another and just fighting for water. There was a stream of water running out of this rock about 4 or 5 feet off the ground, about as much that would come out of your bathtub if you turned it on. And they are fighting to get some of this water. And I stood above them and I thought, this is chaos, right? This is barbaric. Form a line. And as I'm thinking this, I reached in my book bag and I grabbed a bottle of water. I was thirsty. And I'm taking a drink of my water and I'm looking at them going, you're crazy. Why are you fighting? I'm drinking my water. And then I realize in my life, I have never worried about where I'm getting my next drink of water. Never crossed my mind. My son, Montgomery, when he's thirsty, he doesn't say he's thirsty, he says he's drinking. And Montgomery will come to me and say, Daddy, I'm drinking. And I go to the fridge and I get my little boy something to drink. Now, if Montgomery came to me and said, Daddy, I'm drinking. And the only way I could get Montgomery something to drink was to walk a half hour down a dusty animal trail in 100-degree heat and fight you for water, I would fight every one of you for water. I wouldn't stand in line. Because I learned that 600 families share that stream of water running from that rock. 600 families sharing less water than what runs out of your bathtub at any given moment. And they're all fighting for life. Because no one knows when it's going to stop. I wouldn't stand at the back of the line and let my kid be the one that didn't get water today. When my son is standing there going, Daddy, I'm drinking. I would push you down. I would get water for my kids. I was down there for a couple of hours and it came time to leave. They said, Warren, let's go. So I get my bucket and I go up behind the crowd. I'm getting ready to push through. I'm picking out the weakest people in the bunch. And as I'm getting ready to push through, I look down and I notice a little boy. I had my camera, so I took his picture. This little boy standing next to me. Now I realize he's been standing there for at least 2 hours, because I've been down there as a tourist, you know, taking it all in. I've been walking around, seeing the different places where these 600 families are coming from. And it's finally time to leave, so I come up behind them, and I get back behind this crowd, and I realize that that boy was standing there when I first came down the mountain. And he's still got an empty jug at his feet. He's had nothing to drink out here in this 100-degree heat for at least this 2 hours. And he's still got an empty jug, and I thought, I don't know how I'm going to get through this crowd. How will this little boy push through this crowd to get water? And a volunteer told me that he could be there all day. This little boy could be there all day. They said, Warren, he has to wait until someone will fight for him. And I thought about what my wife and I talk about. What is worth fighting for? I told you if it was a picture of my child right there, I would push you down. I believe if that was a picture of your child, or a child that you know and love, and the only way you could get life for that child was to fight me for it, you would fight me. You would lose, because I am ripped. Don't laugh. That's not a picture of my child, although we do look awfully a lot alike. And that's not a picture of your child, but the question was asked to me, is that